Why do we feel so lonely when we're grieving? Even if you have lots of people around you, grief can still make you feel lonely and isolated. Someone has died that you love very much, and it can be hard for other people to understand what you're going through. This can be made worse if the one you love died suddenly or traumatically. That's the topic of our discussion today: how to overcome loneliness when someone you love dies. This episode will help bring awareness to what's holding you back, what is keeping you in that place of dread, and what to do about it. Because, friend, you need peace in your heart and a starting point and courage to take the next step. Have you wondered how to reach a place where it would feel good to embrace the memories of the one you love without pain or feeling guilty that you're leaving them behind? Do you believe it's possible to embrace your past when your loved one was with you by honoring them and being intentional to bring them into your present? It is possible, and I want to show you how. I want to help you discover what's holding you back and preventing you from celebrating the one you love. This will set the stage for a future lined with hope instead of dread. I'll teach you to reframe your future. What's keeping you from saying yes? Do you know where the root word for passion comes from? It comes from the Latin word to suffer or to endure. My passion to help you came from my own personal suffering. I've walked this lonely road of grief that comes from losing a child. I've been where you are, and out of those ashes came the roadmap for grief. Visit my website at thegriefmentor.com and hit the Work With Me tab. I hope to see you there. Are you lost in the chaos of grief, struggling to find your way in the darkness? Are you asking yourself, will I ever be able to enjoy life again? Are you wondering where God is right now? Welcome to the Grief Mentor Show. This podcast is a safe place for you. It will shine a light into the shadows, helping you discover that joy and pain can coexist, that you still have purpose, and there is a path to peace. Hello, friend. I'm Teresa Davis. I, too, was lost in the chaos of grief the day my son died. Just like you, I longed for peace in this unfamiliar world. I longed for the weight crushing my chest to be lifted so I could breathe. I clung tightly to the anchor, and it was there that I discovered the tools I needed to navigate life after loss. And I'm ready to help you do the same. If you're ready, I'm holding my hand out to you, friend. Let me show you the way, one step at a time. Do you long for the life you used to have? The one where trials came and went, but you weathered them with each other? The one where planning meals and cooking for your family was part of your everyday, and now that may look very different for you. Or when planning trips or vacation was fun, and everyone was part of it and looked forward to the time away. When holidays, even though it could be a stressful time, was full of fun and listening to Christmas music to really get into the spirit for the task at hand, to make everything perfect for the ones you love. Do you feel like those days are gone forever? Because now every time your mind wanders to the holidays, you get a pit the size of the Grand Canyon in your gut. Or every time you go to the grocery store and you see your loved one's favorite foods, you walk on by as the tears stream down your cheeks because you feel like that you can't buy them anymore. There are no words that describe that kind of loneliness unless you've lived through it. So the question is today, how do we overcome this intense longing for what we can't have this side of heaven? The first thing you do is you have a mindset shift. In the opening, I encouraged you that it's possible to stop dreading the future. Well, how do you do that? By taking your loved one with you. For example, the summer after Andrew was killed, I was walking past the dairy case in the grocery store, with my earbuds in, by the way, because in order to survive the grocery store at that point in my life, I had to listen to praise music while I was shopping. It kept me focused and my heart in the right place, and it protected me from spiritual warfare. Andrew loved ice cream. It was a nightly experience for him to eat ice cream. I walked past that case that day, and I saw a seasonal flavor that he loved. I kept right on walking, and I told myself, I will never buy that again. Sound familiar? Tears welled in my eyes as I considered that I would never see him eat and enjoy that ice cream again this side of heaven. Just a few steps past, I felt the urging of the Holy Spirit to buy the ice cream. I stopped and stood there for a few moments resisting because I just could not bring myself to do it. Then I made a decision. I decided that this was a surrender moment. In order for me to stop dreading the future, I had to surrender to what was and start living in the tension of what is. Buying that ice cream for the rest of my family would be a treat. Plus, we could all share stories about how he loved it so much. In fact, he loved this flavor so much that he tried to buy it from the company in the off-season. He wasn't successful in his efforts because they only made this one in the summer. Now, I looked forward to it every summer to honor his memory. Do you see the mindset shift that took place from that one moment? Regardless of your circumstances of grief, you will need a mindset shift to surrender and learn to live in the tension we didn't ask for, but nonetheless, that's where we are. Having someone to help you reframe your mindset can turn your journey from despair to hope. The second thing that we can do to overcome loneliness in the midst of grief is to serve others. Now, before you turn me off, I want you to hear me out. The exhaustion of grief that comes in those early days, early weeks, and early months doesn't leave much room for energy to serve others. I get that. In fact, I described that time period recently in a breakout session after I spoke to a group of ladies in Carbondale, Illinois. And this is what I said. The exhaustion of grief is like one very long day that never seems to end. It doesn't have a beginning and an end because there is no such thing as rest in early grief. And if that's where you are right now, I'm not suggesting that you serve others in those moments. Let others serve you. However, it's good to take note of what others did to serve you in those moments, because that, my friend, is what you can do for others that need it in the future. Let me tell you something, guys. Serving others does at least two things. It takes the focus off of yourself, and it clears your mind and gives way for rest from your thoughts, even if it's just for a few hours. And number two, it helps someone that so desperately needs it to know that they are seen and heard, just like you needed to be seen and heard. And it doesn't need to be someone who is grieving. It can be anyone with need. For example, while working with a client recently, her only child had passed. And if you've listened to the podcast, you've heard me refer to layers of grief. The loss of a child is one of the highest ranking losses on the grief scale. Losing a spouse is right there as well as one of the most traumatic types of loss. Now, I'm not here to compare losses, but to make a point. Losing a child is a life-altering experience. And there are circumstances that lead to layers of grief, such as the loss of an only child. In this situation, her child was not married, therefore there would be no grandchildren, and the family legacy was altered. In her opinion, at that moment, her life was over. She felt as if she had no purpose. I helped her have a mindset shift to reframe her future. Yes, her life had been altered in a devastating way, but life was not over. Because I know this, as long as your feet is on planet Earth, you still have purpose. So how did I help her overcome the loneliness? I helped her see that though her life did not turn out like she expected, that there was a way to have a future, and I walked her through that in a personal way. Now, here are some examples and ways to serve. In a situation like my client, you could think about other children, living children, who have lost both their parents or are in a less than comfortable circumstance. Do you think they need to be seen and heard? Think about ways that you could support a child in need all year round and at Christmas time. What about a single mother who is struggling to put food on the table and a roof over her children's head? Maybe she could use some help with childcare now and then, or maybe some help with clothing her children. It may not be the life you expected for yourself, but what if God showed you a need to meet? Would you walk away because it's not the life you expected for yourself? Or would you take some time and pause like I did in the grocery store and have a surrender moment? Because friend, each time you surrender to living in the moment of what is, will help you learn to live in the tension of your loss. I'll give you another example. One of the facilitators for While We Were Waiting lost a child by stillbirth. One of the things she does as a ministry is that she goes to the hospital and she cares for the moms whose life didn't turn out like they expected. Because guess what? Just because your baby was born stillborn doesn't mean that your milk still doesn't come in. Constant reminders that you've lost a child. And she has a whole kit that she goes to the hospital with, that she learned from her experience that you need in that situation. That's where serving from passion comes from. Serving from a place of suffering or enduring. I choose to see you. I choose to commit to finding a way to serve others that faced what I faced, because I have a story to tell and I lived to tell about it. God is in my story, and just like Jacob, I wrestled with God. And friend, God is in your story too, even if you don't see it yet. Allow me to help you reframe your future. See you inside the roadmap for grief, created just for you. And that's all I have for you today. So until next time, take care. Are you a Grief Mentor Insider? I have a free grief guide and a playlist that I personally listen to. Visit the show notes or visit my website at thegriefmentor.com to become a part of my grief family. If something I said touched your heart, would you share this episode with someone that needs to hear it today? And could you take just 30 seconds and leave a review for me on Apple Podcast? From my heart to yours, see you next week.